Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't miss it. This is a good thing.
Yeah, me either. So excited.
But I will need to leave a little bit early for work.
Oh, well, in that case, let's get started.
Well, what about Eden?
Oh, I'm sure she'll be here soon. We'll catch up later. Morning, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for coming. My name is Tane, and I will be your instructor.
Morning, Tane.
Hey. Now, a few things before we start. Self-defense isn't about trading strikes with an attacker. It's about creating space and time so that you can get to safety, okay? Our goal is to get out of a bad situation effectively and quickly. And these classes aren't just about providing you with the skills to do that. They're also about gaining confidence and taking back control. So today we're just going to run through some very basic strikes and techniques, and we will build on those over the next coming lessons. Sound good?
Yes!
Beautiful. All right, can everyone select a partner?
We are Sai and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
How much milk do you like in your tea, Sophie?
Oh, well, we've had this conversation before, haven't we? And I like zilch, zero, nada.
Really?
How about you?
I like a bit of milk. I like a nice shade to my
Nice shade.
tea.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
tea's tea in it, whether it's got milk in it or not.
Tea's tea. Well, that's true.
According to
don't-
Marley. Not sure about that, Marley, but there we go.
No. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. Yes. How about you?
Not too bad. Oh, it's flu jab day, so I'm
Oh.
not lifting any heavy objects. I'm just sort of nosing my phone around. Yeah.
I was going to say, do you normally lift heavy objects? Is that
Not
not
really,
normal?
no.
No.
No heavy machinery here, no.
I did wonder what you normally lifted on a Friday Eve, but there we go.
I've had to swerve the gym tonight.
Oh,
You
there
know,
you go. I
yeah.
swerve it every night since '95.
Looking at me, so have I.
Oh, dear.
Dear. How's your week been?
Very much like home and away, actually. Like started off
Oh.
a bit meh, and then ended up turning out all right. So
Oh,
yeah. How about you?
well, I'm sure we'll come on to your meh week. Yeah, not too bad. Really fast, when you last do one of these.
A
and
week ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and just it feels like yesterday. So yeah, it's gone by in a blink of an eye. I think I've just been busy. Gone by in a blink of an eye.
Hmm.
I'm feeling sorry for myself tonight because I've got a sore arm and no one's
Hmm.
going to pity me. So there we
I
go.
will. I'll pity you.
But yeah, bring it on, antibodies.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for you. You know it's good
yeah.
for you.
Yeah, been busy on the pod this week as well.
Yeah.
Regulars will know, or will have noticed that we launched our new collaboration versus series with the guys over at Neighborhood Rewatch. The episode before this, Neighborhood Rewatch versus Coastal News, go check it out. It was Show Legends. We're answering the question, aren't we, Sophie? What's the best soap in Australia? Neighbours
Home and away.
or Home
Home
and
and
Away?
away. Home and away.
Yeah.
Home and away.
Doesn't need to be asked, but we're going with it. We're entertaining these dudes.
Yeah. They're nice guys. They're funny
They
guys
are.
as well.
We've had a good
Yeah.
laugh. Yeah. So go and check it out. It's on our feed. It's on their feed as well. And yeah, find out. It's the first week is Irene versus Harold, which is the best Aussie soap legend, and we have more coming. They're in the more episodes of those coming. They're in the works, aren't they? So that's going to be good. So watch this one. And also, we've not forgotten our awards. 2023 Annual Coastal News Podcast Awards, the glitziest night of the year, no matter what, is on its way. Voting has closed. Your votes have been counted and verified, and we are currently underway, working all the knots and getting to grips and working away, recording your award ceremony. So that'll be with you very, very soon. So watch this space. That's exciting.
It's exciting. It makes me sad though, because when we do the annual awards, it means that we're coming up to the end of the season. And I think this year, looking at TV guides and stuff, it looks like the last day of Homers for this year is the 17th of November, and then we're going on break.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, unconfirmed as of yet, but it's
Mm.
pretty much guaranteed to be then, isn't it?
Mm.
Looking at things. So yeah, so we don't have long left at all. Bittersweet. Bittersweet.
I know.
However, I'm sure you'll appreciate your Friday evenings back for just a few weeks.
No, I'll miss you. And I'll miss my 6:30 tweeting. I won't know what to do with myself while the break's on. Oh, I'll have to clean the kitchen or something. It'd be dreadful.
We can't be having that. We'll think of something. We'll keep you busy.
Yeah,
We'll keep
okay.
you busy. Right, do you want your headlines?
I do.
Rose decides to reach out to her biological father, but when the time comes, can't bring herself to do anything, really. It's the way you tell him. It's the way you tell him.
I'm crying. Love it.
Cash seemingly rustles some feathers as he gets his hands on Dana's case file.
Mm.
And Flick's attacker wants to meet with her.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts and ensure you never miss an episode.
Right, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just get down to it because we need to talk about a new segment that we're going to be introducing, not by choice.
No.
Are we? Not by choice.
Forced to. Yeah.
Out of absolute despair and duress.
Well,
We
I
are
think
really...
people will have noticed that your headlines there were lyric-free headlines already. You know, so there's a little bit of a clue as to the segment, isn't there?
Well, yeah, consider this a sanction. We've had enough.
We've had enough. Even
We've
I've had enough. Even I've had
Yeah.
enough.
So this is like Putin level sanction, isn't it? This is Russia level. Lyric
Yeah.
Russia. You're on the same as
Mhm.
North Korea. I'm interested, Sophie, right? We're going to get into it in a moment. Why this is happening. We're going to go lyric free for a while. We've had enough. We're just a bit fed up. But as someone who's been an advocate for lyric, can you tell me where your head's at, what you're thinking about the way the storyline is for those at the moment, what's changed for you? Like, hit me.
Okay, well, you've already had a little bit over WhatsApp this week, haven't you? Because I just had a bit of a rant at you. But I'm not angry on Smolder. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. And the reason being, and I think I said this to you on WhatsApp, on Smolder. Sorry, we keep forgetting to say that on Smolder messaging this week. You know me. I didn't hate the band when they first came into it. We saw this coming. We saw the tweets. We saw the whole reaction on social media last year. We dreaded it happening over here, that storyline happening, because we knew that something awful was happening. Everyone was moaning about it on Twitter and Facebook and wherever. And I didn't hate them. I actually grew to love Remy and Eden quite a lot. I've even defended them. I've even defended Remy's behaviour in the past. I even managed to convince you that he's not such a bad guy. I've defended them when they were going through the whole album storyline. You know, I've been there in their corner enjoying lyric as much as anyone can enjoy lyric. And now I'm not enjoying it anymore, and I'm disappointed because it just feels like I invested myself in that story, and now I'm just not enjoying it at all. I feel like it's imploded to the point where I can't stand any of them. I don't really understand where we're going with this, because the social media storm has been going on for a year now. They must have seen some of that when they were writing these episodes and still decided to go ahead and write these episodes and make them more insufferable to watch and more irritating by the minute. This Kirby leaving thing I thought was going to be, done and dusted. It's dragging on and on and on. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take any more lyric. I just can't do it. It's broken even me. And I was pretty, I was pretty open to it at the beginning. So I just feel feel disappointed. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I just feel sad. I'm just, why did it have to end like this? But there we go. That's me.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I'm exasperated because I've been saying to you on here the 12 months or so since they've arrived, I struggle to relate with them, and I love Eden, and I went on this quote journey with Remy, thanks to your input, and gave him a chance, and I quite liked him. His story with Bree, and then that softened him a bit, and it sort of gave him this bit more of a sort of human side rather than the woman eater, that arrived at the beginning, and I just really had a bit bad taste, didn't I, at the start?
Yeah.
So I quite liked that. I've liked Lyric with their stories outside of Lyric.
Yeah.
Any sort of Lyric story, I've just not been interested in from the beginning, to be honest. However, there's always been just enough of it, and then we're on to something else, and I sort of get over it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really been. It's been palatable for me in that they're there, and I need to accept that. That they're this band and the songwriting, and I cringe every now and then, and and all that stuff. Like, and it's over then, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think this week, and we'll get on to what's actually happened this week in our new segment. But this week we've seen them implode, like you say, and it has been so consuming of airtime, scene after scene after scene, what felt like forever. That, and then you look online, like we do, obviously being a podcast about it, we're chatting with others, and then you're hearing the negative stuff around it. You end up in this sort of mindset of just like, I can't deal with any of this,
Yeah, it distracts from the rest of the show because there's stuff in an episode that I genuinely enjoy, but it's so overshadowed by my thoughts about Lyric and my for God's sake about Lyric that I actually don't enjoy the episode as a whole because they take up so much room, and the bits that I would normally enjoy, I'm just sitting there seething about the fact that Lyric's going to be in the next scene.
Yeah. That's it. And we were surmising that this sort of breakup of the band was sort of way of unwriting it all. And then you sort of, being in the position we are here in the UK, you unfortunately most of the time get a look ahead because things come over 8 weeks in advance from Australia, and you see that things are still happening, and you're just looking at these weeks ahead thinking, There was something on the Ozpace hashtag on Twitter the other day about how the Kirby versus Remy thing is still ongoing, and they're 8 weeks ahead. So I was just like, I cannot do another 8 weeks of this. I just can't. That's when I came to you, didn't I? And I said, we need to go Lyric free because I can't do this. And I was like, thank God. I've been waiting for you to say that. But think about it, for us, that's going to feel even longer because that's going to kick into next year.
That's true.
So it's just going to feel like a lifetime. So we've come up with a plan because we're still going to need to know what they're up to on the podcast because it might be relevant to other characters that we might go on to discuss, might it? So this sanction, we're calling it Lyric in a Minute, and that is your lot, right?
From this day forward, that's all we're going to talk about them in a minute.
You're getting a minute worth, right? I've got my clock. Would you like I've got the first one prepared. You can do the next one if you want.
I've got my stopwatch as well. So
amazing, right?
I'm happy to time if you want to talk.
You're going to time me, right? This week's Lyric in a Minute in 3, 2, 1. Kirby's back. There's an announcement due soon that she's going solo, even though she doesn't have a single to launch. Lol. Justin learns it's happening tomorrow. Panic stations. He's happy for her, but just doesn't understand the rush. Who would? Forest Duke meets Justin and tells him not to speak to her at all. You're not to contact, you go through me, Sonny. Comparing them to AC/DC and Pink Floyd, mega lol. Justin asks Kirby anyway to delay the announcement the next morning, but Kirby's talking to the rest of the band and just get it. She eventually talks him round to delay the announcement that she's going solo, even though she's got no single, no nothing to even go out there. What are they announcing anyway? Says, and we're all four friends, and it's going to damage the band if I do this announcement now. So Forrest says he's got a nerve asking when she's asking him to delay that bit. She then says she needs to think about herself. It's unprofessional to delay this, blah, 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 blah. Delays it anyway. The band go ballistic. Remy has a bit of a paddy, but
Stop.
in the end...
Stop. That's a minute. Your time's up, sorry.
The rest will have to wait.
Yeah, the rest wasn't, whatever.
Any of that make any sense? I don't know.
It was more palatable as a fast yeah. And done.
There's loads missing. Right. Xander. So he's now on board with Rose meeting her biological father after a bit of a ticking off, isn't he, this week? I'm starting to change my opinion about Xander. I've been pretty harsh on him, actually, if you listen back at previous weeks. We were a bit tough on him with his, his lack of understanding, shall we say, for Rose and her situation with her biological parents and her journey of self-discovery, if we've been dubbing it. So we were a bit tough with him. And this week he seemed to come round. I'm glad he did, because it allowed him to sort of open up a bit. And it sort of gave Rose the permission she needed to seriously consider meeting this man she found on the internet in no time. So she's also confided in others. So Marley's, he's on board, and Marley, bless him, he's been great at sort of reining Xander in. Marley's sort of, to me, he's acting like Xander's conscience, isn't he? When Xander has his sort of knee-jerk response, Marley's there sort of, actually, mate, she needs this, and he's sort of being his sort of guardian consciousness, if that makes any sense.
I think he's at the audience consciousness
you did say this,
as well.
You?
Yeah. I think he's sort of telling us, when he's talking to Xander and saying, "Oh, this is why it's important to Rose," he's telling us why it's important, isn't he? It's a little bit of a issue-based, raising awareness. This is something that you need to think about, step off that privilege box and think about how it is for everybody else, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm glad he does. And he takes a bit of a step back, well, a literal step back, actually. That scene in the apartment, Marley's there, she's there, they're getting excited, they're talking all about it. Kirby's over because obviously she's sidelined from the band over at their house, so she's sleeping over there at the minute. So they're all talking about their experiences. And my heart did melt a bit because Xander's sort of looking on and takes himself to bed, doesn't he? Feeling a bit sidelined by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
I felt a bit bad for him at that point because I thought it for him, I can see it from his point of view. He has been a bit of a buffhead. Why do you need to find a family? He doesn't understand Rose's need to find out who she is and where she's from and all these questions that she would have had growing up. He didn't get that. What he's seeing is from a selfish point of view that he has lost his dad and now she's going to magically have a new one, and he's not. He doesn't understand how someone can replace his dad because that's the only dad he's ever known and the only person he's ever thought about being his dad. You know what I mean? So I do feel for him because he feels like she's just going to go off and have a new family and he's going to be left, with no dad and his mom, and his sister's going to have new brother and sister that's going to replace him as well as replacing his dad. It's awful, really, isn't it? That he feels like she'll just find this new family and just want to be with them and not, forget about him. It's paranoia. I don't think it'll ever happen, because they've gone through so much and they're so close, weirdly close to a brother or sister, aren't they? So. Do you
remember when they joined? We all thought they were more coupley. It was a bit odd.
They were a bit sexual. It was a bit creepy. It was a bit creepy how close they were at the beginning. Yeah. No, I think I can see it. I can see he's being paranoid. Obviously, he's worried that he's going to lose his sister. His sister's going to have this shiny new family that she's going to be more excited about. Yeah. And he's got those insecurities anyway, hasn't he? We've seen about himself as a person. He's not the most confident, self-assured person anyway. I can see it. I feel for him. I did feel for him in that because he took himself off to bed because he couldn't relate to the conversation, obviously. and he feels like he's losing his sister, or he's going to lose his sister. So
Yeah.
I felt quite
And we
bad, and
haven't.
she
I
seemed
did.
completely oblivious. And she's just like,
I
yeah,
know.
night then, Xander. I was like, oh, bro,
Yeah.
like give him some
Completely wrapped up in it
reassurance.
all. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we haven't been back since, have we?
no,
Well, other than the next morning, but it was
yeah,
all mainly about concern for Rose, because in the night she'd
mm,
taken herself off up to Samuel, he's called, isn't he?
yes,
Who she believed, we've not had any confirmation that she believes Samuel is her father. And she
yeah.
parks up outside a very nice house.
I think because her mum, she phoned her mum, didn't she? And she said, "Does Samuel Edwards mean anything to you?" And her mum hung up on her. So I think she's
Yeah,
gone. It must be him then, because
yeah,
otherwise, mum would go, "Who?" or "What you on about?" or you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And Xander's obviously had an earful from mum as well after that
Yeah,
call.
yeah, yeah.
So that's sort of a bit of a bone of contention. But the next morning, obviously, they've woke up. So we do see Xander the next morning. He's woke up and she's missing, and she comes in afterwards saying she's been out all night.
Mm,
She went to the house. She was gonna knock on the door and meet her biological father, but chickened out and just spent the night driving round or whatever it was. So she didn't
mm,
really get much further in this inaction. Really, no action was taken, so I'd like to revisit Xander's struggles here, because I
mm.
think that's quite an interesting angle. His point of view is quite. I feel like could be quite an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's coming away from that realization of why she needs to go and find her dad. I think he gets that now. I think it's now it's about him and his insecurity about losing his sister, isn't it? Which is that whole family dynamic makes it more interesting, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So watch this space. Right, over at Irene's house, there's an argument. You'll remember we've got Dana, we've got Harper there, haven't we? And then Dana's, staking out in the bedroom, trying not to be discovered. And Irene, there's an argument about Dana contacting this Ollie, her ex. You'll remember that's where we left off, and she'd found the
Mm.
phone and all the rest of it. So there's arguments going on. And she's telling her, look, wake up. He pinned this all on you. Think with your head, not your heart, she tells her. And you and I were surmising a number of occasions in last week's episode and on First Look whether or not this Dana knows exactly what on earth, like whether she's playing her,
Mm.
something's not right. We suspect that Cash is being denied access to the case files deliberately. We think Dana may know a bit more than she's letting on, and she's still in contact with the Ollie, who's supposed to be a dropkick, who blamed her for all this and got her in this mess anyway. And like you said, I think, was it last week? You said just turn him in, just say he's made it up. Like, what is she doing?
I'd phone him because she's desperate to speak to him, isn't she? For God knows what reason. I mean, if it was me and my boyfriend had stolen drugs from, because it sounds like Dana's a nurse, she works in a hospital. This guy is obviously stolen the drugs, or knows who's stolen the drugs, using Dana's key card to get in the hospital and take them, stash them in their apartment. Police have found them when they've gone missing. And he's gone, oh, yeah, it's not me, it's her, that she's stolen from work with her key card. I wouldn't give this guy the time of day if he'd done that to me. I don't care who
No.
he is.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't give him the time of day, but she's obviously desperate to talk to him. So if I was Harper, if I was her sister, I'd be like, right, you can phone him, but I'm recording the whole conversation. And you can ask him why he's done this. You can ask him if it was him that set you up. Did he steal the drugs? And then I'd record all of that and take that to Cash and say, here you go. This is him confessing on a phone call. I don't know whether that's admissible, but they'd have to investigate it at some
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. Yeah. Which would take the investigation a different direction, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Other than looking for her who's on the run. You're right. It's an interesting thought, actually. However, there's no common sense here. If that's what we're calling it. And I believe Dana is not telling her sister something. We don't know at this stage what it is, but I think she knows more than she's letting on. And for some reason, she's taking the rap for this. And we suspected there's bigger powers at play at the police, didn't we?
Yeah.
Now, Irene, she's there inviting Cash over for a roast, and Dana's stuck in the bedroom. You're just thinking, oh, beautiful roast, by the way.
I know, you'd be smelling that under the door, wouldn't you? And
Oh,
thinking, oh, I could just eat
I
that.
know.
And she's
I
sat in
know.
there with a bag of crisps or something on the
I
bed.
know. Try not to make a sound.
Yeah.
And eventually, he gets news that he's being given access to the case file in the end. So he tells Harper, "I'm going to go over it, fine tooth comb. I'm going to find out what goes on." And lo and behold, before long, he finds out. He does tell Harper this. He's found out that the only thing pinning her to it was that her pass at the hospital was used. That is the only thing that they've pinned her to this drugs bust with, and that the CCTV was conveniently not working at the time. And this has never happened before. So someone's tampered with the CCTV. Somebody has been involved here, and you just all our questions and all our suspicions when this first started coming out seem to be coming true, don't they? At this point,
yeah, there's definitely more to it, isn't there, that we don't know about.
Now, Irene. Now, conveniently, Irene's now out of the way. She's rushing about. She's got to go. She's had a phone call. She's getting delivery of the arrival of a new grandchild.
Great grandchild.
Great grandchild. Yeah, I had to backtrack then. Her granddaughter. Daughter.
We will talk about this when you're Sound the Bay.
Okay, will we? That's fine.
Yeah.
Her granddaughter is having twins, so she's like, "Gotta go, doll. I'm out of here." So off she trots, and that gets Irene out of the way, so Dana and Harper can basically have all these scenes in the house without having her to hide in the bedroom. But it's never good news when the owner of the house is out of the way. Bad stuff's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Stuff. I mean, she's very trusting, is Irene. This woman's been there 2 nights, and she's. I mean, what? She's a roommate.
I was going to say.
I
was going to ask you that same question, right? So you take a lodger in at your house, and then literally a few days later, you've got to go out of the country, and go and see, because Australia's massive. You might as well go out of the country when you fly across Australia. Yeah. So you leave them in your house, and you trust them? Like, I just wouldn't.
Yeah. You're not coming home to a VCR, are you?
You're not coming home to anything. I just wouldn't, especially the Bay. All the drama. I mean, I don't get it. Wow, Irene, all the stuff that Irene's been through, and she still trusts anybody. I mean, it's quite, fascinating, actually.
It is very, very trusting. But we'll Jenny it. Because it's going to give us some drama.
Very convenient as well. Very convenient for Dana, who's going mad in the bedroom, by the way.
Absolutely,
needs to break free.
Well, she can't keep that one down.
She's got a whole house to rattle around now, not just the bedroom, and yet she's taken herself off for 3 walks, is it, this week? Oh dear. She's a rule breaker. She's a lockdown rule breaker.
Absolutely. Not to be trifled with, I don't think. She doesn't care. No. This is why I think she knows more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's not afraid of being caught. Why? Like, Harper's going mad. Yeah. Well, this might answer the question as to why. Because Cash gets a little visit, doesn't he, later in the week when we revisit this? Yeah. He gets a visit from the lead investigator on the case, who's like, "Why are you sniffing around this case from the city? What do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, I just want to be a good policeman, and I just want." He's like, "Is it really that boring here?"
I want the truth.
Yeah, you're thinking, just a random copper from a backwater town wants the truth on a weird case. None of it adds up, does it? Do you know what I mean?
No.
And this guy is like, he's a bit pantomime, isn't he? He's great. Absolutely loving me. Don't know what your thoughts on him.
He's sus as AF. Yeah. Sus AF, but hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it's all camp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very camp.
I love the music. I love the baddie music. He's getting baddie music.
Oh, yeah, the baddie incidental music. Yeah, which just immediately makes my hair stick up on my neck.
Yeah. Loving it.
Stay in your lane, Newman. Get out of my cases.
He wants all the dirt on Cash. I was like, you're going to be there a while because there's plenty
gonna
of
say.
it.
It's been suspended more times than God knows.
Oh God, that file of Cash's must be thick. Like, so.
Well, it doesn't take him long to realise he knows Harper. You know, and I thought, well, it's not going to take long, is it, if they were used to work together?
Yeah.
So he immediately now he's like, right, I've met my maker here. He's going to win. So the police are in on this somehow, or at least he, Bent Cop, whatever he is, whatever's going on here, there's involvement from something within the force. We had that sign when he was denied access to the case file last week. Now this guy's turned up and he's like, you know, leave it alone. Let sleeping dogs lie, yada, yada, yada. What is going on here? Like, what is going on?
Don't know. I'll be interested to hear what we can uncover in First Look on Sunday. Because I'm actually quite interested. You know, this week I think this is what this storyline's kept me going. I think I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
With all the L drama that I will not mention going on, this has actually been like the end of the week. Kind of. Oh, thank God, something else to think about.
Interesting.
I can't think what's going on with it though. I am interested to find out what the twist. There's a twist somewhere, but I'm interested.
There is, isn't there? And I don't know a thing. I will admit, I don't know. Have you read anything?
I remember seeing something ages ago when obviously this hit Australia, but I can't actually remember what it was. Can't actually remember what it was I saw.
That's the best thing. Best thing.
I try to blank it out when I see things. I'm like, forget that, Sophie. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was something to do with. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, yeah.
Don't worry. Well, if you can't remember, that's great. You'll just be discovering it again for the first time.
Yes. Yeah.
The best kind of spoilers are the ones you forget. Now Cash goes running over to Harper to sort of tell her the good news, because he thinks he's got a really helpful investigator here who's like really on the ball and wants to know more and wants to know what I know, blah, 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 blah. And that he's spoken to Ollie and all the rest of it. And he comes over to Irene's house, and who is stood there? No, it's not Carly. It's Dana.
Dana. AWOL again.
AWOL again.
Need to learn to lock that bloody door for a start. So lock. If you're not being funny, you're a fugitive, and if you get busted, and you've got a cop coming around all the time trying to help you, you know, via your sister, so he could turn up at any time. You know, it's not just walking around the bay where you could get busted by a cop, but a cop's friends with your sister and knows where she lives. So lock the back door. Lock the back door. Stay in the bedroom. Close the blinds. Like,
back door is off limits.
Irene's back door is open more than any back door I've ever known. Insane.
Why?
What? It's true.
It is true. In fact, when it's closed, it just looks weird.
They need to get, Home and Away is sponsored by like this dating app for over 50s or whatever at the moment. It used to be the mattress thing, didn't it, on the My5?
It still is the mattress on My5. Is it something else? Or?
On 5-star, it's this dating for over 50s or something.
Oh, yes. Sponsors prime time.
They need to be sponsored by some kind of backdoor lock company, I think. Yale Locks sponsors Home and Away on Channel 5. Yeah, that's what they need. Like, it's ridiculous.
We'll take it on the podcast.
Or like those Ring cameras, Ring cameras sponsors Channel 5. Oh dear. And we need to be sponsored by Smolder, FYI. So
Yeah, no rings or back doors on the pod, please.
just smoldering, yes.
Moving on. So she's been caught in the kitchen, out and about, out and proud in the house. So now Cash is like, this was like the Friday cliffhanger, wasn't it? Like, Dana, what the fuck? Harper, you've been lying to me. Why are you here? what is going on. So you're right. First look tomorrow is going to be interesting because things are going to have to unravel from here, aren't they?
Yeah.
And rightly so. Right. Tane's prepping the self-defense classes this week. They're getting off to a start. A good turnout, actually, but Eden's not in the mood, despite promising that she was going to go, because she's obviously down and out about the L word. So Bree's sort of having to tell her she can't go. So Flick goes back to the house, drags her there, and then they pair up to do the palm punch. And she accidentally whacks her one in the face. Flick's bleeding everywhere.
Saw this coming a mile off, but did enjoy it, actually.
I did, because I bet many a folk have wanted to do that to Felicity at one point or another.
She's not actually annoying me that much at the moment, but I did quite enjoy that. I was like, yeah, that's karma. Because she did, Eden was like, you know what, I'm going through some stuff right now and I'm not feeling it. And Flick was like, it's not for me, it's for you. And I was like, this is the most selfish thing I've ever seen, Flick. I'm not being funny. But you want her there because it's your like self-defense thing that you've been like advocating for ages, for a week. And you want her there because you want the numbers and you want, it wasn't for Eden. If she was there for Eden, she'd have gone, mate, what's wrong? Talk to me. Not, oh, come with me to the self-defense class. You know what I mean? She wasn't being a very good friend at that point. So, the fact that it literally backfired and smacked her in the face was quite funny. Quite funny to me.
It was. And this was all because Tane, was supposed to be, overseeing this, was distracted by a phone call from Nico. Remember Nico?
Yeah, I do vaguely remember Nico. Also, vaguely remember his mother, Gemma.
Been in a car accident.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good, does it?
No, actually made me feel a bit sick though, because I did like Gemma when she's been gone for bloody ages now. It's nice to hear that they exist out there in the home and away ether, though.
Yeah, of course it does. These silent characters that we have.
Yeah.
Is she in a bad way? Did I miss it? Because I was a bit distracted watching this episode. Is she in a bit of a bad way?
She's going to be in hospital for a while, Tani said, because she's broken her leg and she's broken her collarbone. So because I think she probably lives on her own, because obviously her husband passed away, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think they probably won't let her go home unless she's got somebody there to help her, because she won't be able to walk around or do anything. So Nico's trying to fly home because he's in New York, isn't he, with Bella? So he's trying to get a flight home. And Tani's saying all the flights are booked up. He can't get anything for a few days. So I'm going to go, or am I going to go? I don't know. He's thinking about going, isn't he? Because he's near her. Because she needs somebody to get her out of the hospital, to help her get home, to help her. She's not going to be able to do anything. Broken collarbone and broken leg. You can't even stand up, go to the loo, make a drink. You're going to have someone waiting on your hand and foot, aren't you? So
yeah. And as like you say, New Zealand's a short hop for him, I suppose.
Yes.
In comparison to New York.
Yeah.
And like there's this whole conversation between Tane and Flick, isn't there, with the whole, I don't want to go, I want to be here with you. It's not long after the assault. And she's like, they've got the guy, like they've got him, like chill out. I need to move on with my life. You go. And I'm like, why don't you both go? Like,
well, they can't, can they? Because the gym for a start, then Salt. They've got too much going on.
Oh, come on, right. The Salt's got Mac. And Tane was gonna find cover anyway for the gym. Like, I'm just thinking, in my situation, I would go with my partner.
Yes.
Few days,
but
family emergency.
In that conversation, because Tane had said, "Oh yeah, but your your attacker stalker guy hasn't blackmailer, whatever you want to call him, hasn't been sentenced yet," and she says, "Oh yeah, like, but he's banged up. I'm safe." As soon as she said that I'm safe, I was like,
"Oh, you're not." Yeah.
This is telling me that something's going to happen. Yeah, he's banged up and safe, and I'm thinking jailbreak now. I don't know what you're thinking.
Well, I wasn't thinking what it was. That's for sure. She gets that phone call, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And she didn't even know that was a thing.
Mm.
Her attacker wants to meet her. How does that work out? Explain that to me. Can you? I don't,
I don't really understand this at all. Oh, God, it's really irritated me, I'll be honest, because it sounds like this is a program, as they keep mentioning in Australia, where people that have committed a crime can make some demands or requests, I guess, to meet with the person that they've committed the crime against as part of some kind of rehabilitation. We have this here. We have similar things here, but this is quite a serious the most serious sexual assault crime. I didn't think this was a thing for those kinds of crimes. But anyway, he wants to meet her for whatever reason, as part of this rehabilitation program. It sounded to me like he supposedly found a conscience while he's been locked up in prison. But to me, cynically, we've just been told in the previous scene, Tane says, your attacker hasn't been sentenced yet. Then all of a sudden he wants to meet Flick and talk to her. And I'm thinking, his solicitors told him, it would go a long way with the court if you try and look like you're sorry, like reach out to the victim and tell her you're sorry, have a conversation with her. Maybe you'll get a lesser sentence. Maybe you won't get 10 years in prison. Maybe you'll get 5 years in prison if you do that, because it looks like you're sorry. I'm sorry, but he spiked her. He attacked her. He filmed it, and then he blackmailed her. And now all of a sudden he's got a conscience? I'm not buying this.
Yeah, no,
I'm not buying this. And also, it's manipulation and control, because, he's lost control now. He had control over for ages. These text messages, bring me £1,000, bring me £10,000. He was manipulating her. He was controlling her. He was, ruling the narrative on this. Then she turned it around on him and he got caught. He's lost control now. And that's what sexual assault is about. It's about control.
Yeah.
And making people feel powerless and, making people a victim. Now he's lost all of that control and he wants to meet her. Isn't he just trying to get the control back? And just, by saying he wants to meet her, she's now got to go and see him. And he's making her go and see him. It feels like it's just a game. It's part of another. I'm really annoyed.
Yeah,
I'm really annoyed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is because there was these scenes, wasn't it? Because Cash puts her in touch with Harper, because we know Harper is a social worker, and she's got familiarity with this so-called scheme. And so there's that it was a really nice scene, actually, where they sit on the bench, don't they, at the beach. Yeah. And she sort of explains to her, you'll be assessed, and they're really assessed to make sure they don't cause any damage. And I'm thinking, how is that even measured? How do you know? You
don't know what he's going to say to her.
Yeah, and what effect that's going to have on Felicity's recovery. No. And sort of her ableness to just get on with life. This is, and it's so soon after. I'm just thinking, how can they even entertain this? You're right, he's not even charged. I hadn't even considered that until you just said it.
He's been charged. He's pleaded guilty. He's just not been sentenced.
He's not been sentenced. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably thinking, oh well, if I play nice, I mean, there's two ways of going about it, isn't it? It's I could play nice and say sorry. And then my solicitor will go to court and say, but he's sorry, and he met her, and they had the dialogue. Then, depending on what happens in that room, if Felicity throws it back in his face, that looks bad for her. If that's mentioned in the court, I don't know. I don't know how these things work. It's just mind-boggling that they're even allowed to do this, really. Pre-sentencing, post-sentencing maybe, but pre-sentencing, this is bizarre. I just don't know. And then also, if he does get her in a room, then how do we know he's not just going to laugh in her face and say, ha, well, I did all this stuff to you, and I've now made you come and talk to me. I'm still controlling you. I'm still getting you to do my bidding. I don't know what he's going to say to her.
What if she gets there and he goes, why are you lying about this?
Or what if he gets there and just laughs in her face and just says, well, you're so pathetic that you just turned up because I asked to talk to you. Just psychologically damage her again. I'm reeling.
Surely she can't be seriously entertaining the idea. I mean,
it sounds like she is.
But that's just insane.
It is,
isn't
insane.
it?
It is insane. It's
this is a real thing that happens. Like, this is a real scheme, I'm assuming.
we have
Like,
something over here. I'm sure we do. I don't know a huge amount about it. I'd have to look it up. But we have something similar over here. I don't know whether it's for really serious crimes like this. And I think usually it's when they're in prison, they've been sentenced. It's after the court case, and it's only for certain circumstances. I don't think it's for everything where you can just say, I want to talk to them and I want to apologise. But I think, you know, if it's a crime where there's a chance of rehabilitation, let's say someone steals something from a shop, let's make it a bit more trivial, stolen something from the corner shop, I've gone to jail, I want to make amends, you know, that kind of thing, reaching out to the person that you've stolen the tin of beans from.
Yeah.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Like, I'm not going to do it again. I've seen the error of my ways. Tell me how it impacted you. Tell me what the crime, you know, stealing stuff from your shop. It's not a victimless crime, as people think. You know, what does it do to your business? How does that affect the community, etc., etc.? I could see it from that point of view.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, it's like, and pre-sentencing, I don't know. I don't know whether we have that here. I'd have to look it up.
I think even the phone call would send me west.
Oh, I wouldn't cope with it at all. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm projecting because I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, and I think
yeah,
I just would not cope with that. It would be awful.
I think I just can't believe that the whole prosecution service or whatever would even do that. To me, that's shocking. You know,
it's awful because it's not about the victim at all. It's about the perpetrator, and you know them. Who cares if they're sorry? They did it. You know what I mean? Like. Is it just me?
No, me at all.
Lock them up, throw away the key. I don't give a shit if they're sorry. You know, they did it. They weren't sorry at the time. He spiked her. He assaulted her. He recorded her. He blackmailed her. I'm sorry, but people like that don't grow a conscience overnight, do they?
No, evil.
Don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I've written a few things down. I know, yes.
Sorry.
I've written a few things down about Marza because I didn't know whether it was Bella. I didn't know if it was something or nothing, or whether it was like foreshadowing something. But she run off her feet at the time of this week. Oh,
that was weird, wasn't it?
Every scene she's running behind. She's running across, like, what's going on? She's covering for everyone's shifts.
Yeah.
Did that stick out to you? Like.
It was an odd scene, wasn't it? Because obviously the diner, it would get busy at lunchtime. That's going to be your busiest time of the day apart from dinner time, isn't it? So lunchtime rush or whatever that Leah called it, that's normal. And we know Irene's run off to see her granddaughter, so we're one person down. Then Leah decides to run off and see Theo because Theo hasn't bothered to get out of bed yet. At lunchtime, during the lunchtime rush, that's really important, apparently, to go and drag him out of bed. A 21-year-old man. I had to roll my eyes a little bit about that. You know, wait till after work, Leah, be professional. Yeah. So it was really weird. This whole, I don't know whether they were just writing a scene so that we could have some comedy, because a lot of this week has been quite serious, hasn't it? We've had a lot of the lyric arguments. We've had the Felicity and Tane stuff, which has been quite deep. I don't know whether this was a scene to make us laugh, because ultimately John saved the day, and I think genuinely, looking at Twitter and Facebook, John saved the entire week this week, because people were falling asleep at the wheel watching this program this week. And John, this scene with John and Marilyn, and John being a legend as always, you know, comedy legend, it picked everybody up again, didn't it? So I don't know whether we just needed a comedy scene, and this is the only way they could write one in, just by making Marilyn overwhelmed at lunch, in the lunchtime rush, which I imagine would happen on most days.
Well, I feel a bit silly because I've gone proper off the rails with this.
Tell me your thoughts.
I'm thinking this is the start of a John and Marilyn rekindle. You know, it's got them together. They're working together as a team. They might decide that they're working together. He's always there for her. Yeah, God damn it.
The only thing that's putting me off that, I'd love that. I would absolutely, oh my God, I would ship that so hard because I love them. The only thing that I'm sort of thinking was she looked really annoyed with him the whole time. And I know that is a very coupley, been together a long time kind of situation anyway. But she didn't look like she was enjoying his company. She looked like she was genuinely irritated that he was stepping in and your pricing and you're charging so much and that man asked for chips, not a salad, Marilyn, and you rushed off your feet. Like she was
You
getting
should do
really
a
annoyed.
club. Didn't he suggest a loyalty club or something?
He said a prepaid card for coffee, like, didn't he?
To be fair, that would increase cash flow in the business, but there we go.
It would increase it exponentially because they don't have any cash. Nobody pays for anything, especially not John and his free coffee card.
I love that, and I'm so glad that's still an integral part of his day. You know,
gets it out of the top pocket of his shirt, hands it over. It makes my day.
Yeah, I'm a bit like, it's Maz and John back together again. Very early stages, like I just went a bit wild. Really,
I did enjoy it, but I didn't take it as seriously as that because I just thought she looks genuine. She's not looking at him like, oh, thank you, John. Thanks for helping me. I really appreciate you, like puppy dog eyes. She's looking at him like, for God's sake, Palmer, really?
Yeah.
Like,
I was faster without you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Making me feel
bit
small.
of light relief, wasn't it?
It was hilarious. Honestly, people are loving it, lapping it up this week. Long live John Palmer. Right, Si, are you ready for another round of Your Say on the Bay?
Yes. Yeah, I am. Thank you.
We've just had a bit of a giggle fest offline, haven't we?
Yeah, I will calm down.
You hung up on me. That's why we're laughing.
It's like end of the discussion. Red button. Yeah.
I was like, he's effing hung up on me. Rude. But you're back. I'm glad you're back. I missed you for that 3 seconds. We weren't talking.
Same. It was like my arm was ripped off. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I was laughing, and I'm now sweating out my eyeballs. But there we go. Welcome back, listeners. This is Your Say on the Bay. So I'm going to explain what's going on here. So, anyone that's new, I hope you are new. I hope that we have got new people, but I suspect that people listen to this are probably well known about what this segment is. But I will explain it anyway. So what we do now is we have a little look about what you guys think, the viewers of Home and Away, about the episodes that have just aired this week in the UK. So because we're on social media, we're on Facebook, Threads, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, etc., we get to have a look at your comments on social media, and we read through them and we look at your reactions, and I read them out to Si on this segment, which is called Your Say on the Bay, so that we can find out what you guys think. So I've been doing that. I've been digging through. And that's about it, really. I can't think of anything else I need to tell you, apart from the fact that because we're on social media, if you look for us, so look for Coastal News Podcast, or our handle on most of those social media platforms is at Coastal News Pod. We've also got a Gmail account, haven't we, which is coastalnewspod@gmail.com. So if you want to give us your opinion on anything that's happened in the Bay this week, get in touch with us. I tweet along, or Si and I tweet along on the hashtag on Twitter at 6:30 p.m. because we watched the programme on 5 Star here in the UK Monday to Friday, and we tweet along at the same time. So come and find us on hashtag Home and Away on Twitter. Give us your thoughts, and then we might just read out one of your tweets on this segment.
How exciting.
It is. We love hearing from you as well, so please do get in touch. So I'm going to kick off this week's Your Say on the Bay with Irene.
Yeah.
Irene. We talked about her briefly at the beginning of this episode because this week we released an extra episode, didn't we? We released our battle royale versus the Neighbours podcast. Boo hiss. They're lovely guys, and they're so funny. So you need to give it a listen. So Neighbourhood Rewatch is a Neighbours podcast. They started their podcast by watching old episodes of Neighbours and then doing a podcast about those episodes. But now, because Neighbours is back on Shewee, yes, I will be calling it Shewee. Neighbours is back, so they're also doing a podcast recapping what's happening on the brand new episodes of Neighbours. So we've teamed up with them recently. We're doing some battle episodes, aren't we? So this week we released one about show legends. They put forward Harold Bishop from Neighbours. We put forward Irene Roberts from Home and Away, and they did battle on, who was the best show legend. And also that age-old question, Neighbours versus Home and Away. Which Aussie soap is better? I mean, obviously it's Home and Away. There's no question. Obviously.
It doesn't need to be asked. Yeah.
Doesn't need to be said. So obviously it's Home and Away. But because our show legend was Irene, we talked about her on the episode. So go back and have a listen to that. We released it on Wednesday, the 4th of October, I think it was. So it's on all the podcast channels. It'll be before this episode that you're listening to right now. So why am I talking about Irene on Your Son the Bay? Because Irene this week, she announced in a very blink and you'll miss it scene to Harper that she had to run away. She was running off.
Oh, yeah.
She had her bags packed. She was running out the door. I've got to go, love. My granddaughter is giving birth to twins, and I need to go away for a few days. And she left Harper in charge of her house, her new lodger. Very trusting, considering Irene's been through so much kidnapping and cults and God knows what else, attacks on her, and also selling organics have recently threw a brick through a window. She's quite happy to leave this stranger in her house and run away to see her granddaughter. But the question is, who is the granddaughter? Who's the granddaughter, Si?
Well, much deliberation this week, getting out the old BMD, weren't we? The Summer Bay BMD.
Absolutely. So I
trying to work it out.
I put a little tweet on and I made a little really crappy diagram, but hopefully it helped people.
I love that.
It was awful. I did that half cut on like Wednesday night or whatever. I was like, I need to know who this is because it's driving me insane. Like I had another disassociation shower where I was like, who is the granddaughter? I need to know. This is driving me nuts. I'm going to do a little like diagram to work out who it could be. So who is the granddaughter? So we know that Irene came into the show with 3 children. We talked about this on the Neighbours battle earlier in the week. So go back and listen to this. She came into the show with 3 children. She added a 4th children by this retcon that we had with Mick. I've ruled out Nathan because we don't know if Nathan's got any children. I've also ruled out Damien because last we heard he was a priest. So I'm assuming no children. Could be wrong. I've also ruled out Finlay because we know that she had, I think it was Mark, a little boy, and then Irene gave birth to Paul, another little boy, for her as a surrogate. So I've ruled out Finlay, and I've ruled out Mick because Mick, as far as we know, has only got Luke, who is 6 years old currently, so probably not giving birth to twins right now. So who is this granddaughter? There's been a lot of speculation on Twitter and Facebook and stuff.
Oh, was there really?
Yeah,
it wasn't just us then that were taking to each other on WhatsApp like, what the hell?
What the hell? No, it wasn't just us. So Sue, right on Twitter, said Sue's assuming they're Finn's. Surely they must be Finn's. It must be Finn's daughter. Christy on Twitter saying, I think it's Olivia because Olivia was the daughter of Chloe. I remember Chloe that was in it years ago. Thought of Irene like her mother, and Irene thought of Chloe like her daughter.
Do you know what? I'd not even considered that because I'm just thinking biology.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I was as well. That's why I went with the 4. But then after Christy tweeted and said, I thought it was Olivia because of Chloe being like a daughter to Irene. I was like, well, hang on a minute, because Selena, that used to be a lodger with Irene and used to date. Well, I think dated might be pushing it, but I think she slept with Irene's son Damien way back, and got way back, and got quite close to Irene during the whole cult thing when she was kidnapped by Saul and all that sort of stuff. So Selena actually changed her surname to Roberts because she felt that she was so much a part of Irene's family. So I thought, if it could be Olivia, it could also be one of Selena's children, assuming, which also brings me on to something that's going on this week. So Selena, the last time we saw her, she ran off with her maths teacher, Stephen Matheson. Yeah. And we've now got Mathesons on the show because Harper and Dana have got that surname. So what on earth is going on?
Yeah, this is too creepy, this now.
It's too weird.
This is just, I'm getting a bit of a... I'm just going to have to shudder. Right, I've shuddered.
There's a lot to unpack this week.
Yeah, that...
I know. I know. But There's lots of speculation. So
it
lots
can't
of
be
us were getting
Olivia.
involved. No, exactly.
No, because Olivia lives in London.
But we don't know where
Make
Irene's gone, do we? She just said she's going. She didn't say where. She didn't say I'm off to Brisbane or I'm off to Adelaide or I'm off to Perth.
Just pop into London.
She just went,
It's,
I'm off to see my granddaughter. She didn't say where she was going.
Go on anyway. Go on. Yeah.
The mind boggles. Well, it's been all over Twitter, Instagram, etc. All of the fans have been talking about who could this granddaughter be. We've all speculated. We've all assumed it could be Olivia. It could be Selena's kids. It could be Finlay's kids. People are saying maybe Nathan and Grace had children that we don't know about. You know, everyone's speculating. But who weighed in this week on Twitter and answered our tweet? Only bloody Lynn McGranger herself. Irene. I was absolutely bowled over by this because I still can't believe that, wow, this is amazing. So Lynn tweeted us, and I thought, well, if anyone's going to know the answer to this, it's got to be Lynn. She's Irene. She's got to know who her granddaughter is. So I was like, waited with bated breath for this tweet.
Yeah. Oh, bless her.
I was like, here we go. This is the answer. So Lynn messaged us, and she said, Finn has 2 sons that we know of. Paul, who was surrogated by Irene, we know about this, who'd be about 26 years old now, and Mark, a similar age to Paul, because Finn fell pregnant shortly after Irene started surrogacy. So we talked about this on the Neighbours thing the other day, didn't we? On the Neighbours battle. So Lynn says it's highly possible that Finn also had a daughter, or that even Nathan or Damien did. This is all conjecture, but it's possible. You're welcome. So not even Reenie knows who her granddaughter is. This absolutely cracked me up.
Even Reenie's like, could be anyone.
Could be anybody, doll. No idea. It's all conjecture. I flaming love this. Not even Irene herself knows who her bloody granddaughter is. This is brilliant. You couldn't make this up. So it wasn't that because I genuinely thought, I don't know about you, I thought I'd missed something. I thought, oh my God, what granddaughter? And I was like racking my brain.
No. Yeah, we were literally saying the only granddaughter, like bloodline, would be Luke.
Yes.
And that's not possible.
She's 6. So
yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
It's home and away, but still that's pushing it. Like.
So then we were getting a bit of like, is this just really poor continuity? Is this just but I said, like, she's right. It is possible. It could be any one of them. They've been vague enough, I suppose, to not sort of write something in, because they needed Irene out of the way for whatever reason, right? It doesn't really matter. But if they then write in a specific child having something, I suppose you don't know what the future plan is, whether that backs something else into a corner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know she's got all these kids and grandkids, and we could see more of them. And I know all that sentiment out there. I get that. But it was vague enough that but possible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was like, keep it at that sort of approach.
And it makes us talk, doesn't it? It makes us talk on the hashtag. It keeps us guessing. It makes us talk about it. So from that point of view, it's quite clever that it's not a full-blown conclusion, because it makes us talk on the hashtag. Very clever. Yeah. But not even Reenie herself knows who her granddaughter is. But I think we'll forgive her because she's a flaming legend. She's our show legend as of the Neighbours Rewatch Battle podcast.
Absolutely.
Episode.
She is Aussie soap legend. The longest serving female in an Aussie soap as well.
Yeah.
Like, why did we forget that?
First ahead of Leah, because Leah's the second longest apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And pair of them don't look a day over 21.
Exactly. So. Amazing. It's all that sunshine and fresh air, I think. So we will forgive you, Irene.
Pizza.
Forgive you, Lynn, for not knowing who your granddaughter is. Because also, Irene cooks a damn good roast.
Oh, God, something mouth-watering.
Damn good. And everyone was talking about this on Twitter because, let's be honest, the beginning of the week was the L word heavy. Heavy on the L word. And lots of people were sort of trying to not open a vein when watching these scenes. And everyone was praising because I think I tweeted something like, okay, we're contemplating having a lyric-free episode on the pod this week. But if we do that at this point, which I think was Tuesday, it limits us to talking about Rose sitting outside of a house in the dark that she thinks her dad might live in, and also Irene and her roast. And actually, the Irene and the roast thing got so many comments on Twitter and Facebook. So David commented, he said, I would gladly watch Irene cooking a roast or Marilyn walking around in heels on the beach for 30 minutes. Then another second of this lyric crap. And Just Jen on Twitter also says Irene cooking a roast was, and I know this word is overused, but not here, iconic. Iconic. I agree.
Things.
We love it.
It's made a mark, this roast dinner.
It has.
It's
Irene cooking a roast. You don't need the drama. You just need Irene in the kitchen with a pinny on. That's about it.
We do need a bit of drama every now and
Well,
then.
we do. Yeah, we do. But not every day.
That roast chicken, check it for a bomb or some sort of substance. Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of mercury lead poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was Irene. Oh my God, I'm still reeling that Lynn actually tweeted us. I'm still on a high. I'm on a massive high from that. It was
and
amazing.
she was like, neither do I, Dal, but it is possible.
It's all conjecture, sweets. Yeah. I love it. Anyway, so that was Irene. Now, I have a question for you, Si.
Oh,
Obviously this week has been I know our podcast, we are now limiting lyric content to 1 minute or less.
Don't do this to me.
1 minute or less. But the people are talking about lyrics. So do we read the tweets of the people talking about lyric, or
go
do
on
we?
Then. Yeah, go on.
Okay. I'll try and do this quickly, but I think it's important that we give people a say. So lyric, Kirby, Forest, all of that nonsense that's been going on this week. Quite a heavy week for this. Up front, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was very heavy of the lyric stuff. So I'll read you some comments out from Facebook about all of this drama. So Shakila on Facebook says, I think once Kirby finds out Forest withheld copyright permissions, she will sack her manager and return to Lyric. The fact that no one is allowed to discuss it with them must mean they are prolonging this storyline just for the build-up, but I could be wrong. Good theory. Yeah, good theory. Prithvi on Facebook also says Forest is a sneaky one. And Kirby will regret this, I think.
Is Forest sneaky? He's not come across sneaky to me.
I think he's. I don't think what he's doing is.
I think he's a bit of a wheeler and deal.
It's probably not that unusual, given like the music industry that we hear about is so cutthroat, etc., etc. I don't think he's doing anything underhand. I think he is trying to. Let's be honest, he's trying to make as much money as he can from Kirby, who might only be a flash in the pan artist and get dropped by the record company in a couple of years. So it's one of these where you've got to make your money while they're hot, and then when they fall flat on their face, nobody's interested in more, you drop them. And he probably will do that, but he's only in it for that. He's not doing it out the kindness of his heart, is he? He's not trying to make her a star because he likes her, or because he's a businessman. So
yeah, like Leah says, a bit of a wheeler and dealer. You know, he knows what he wants. He knows his stuff.
Yes.
Knows how to get the best out of things. Yeah. Comes across as quite he dresses well. He dresses clean.
Well, if we're to believe he's as successful as he is, then he must be, rolling in the old money. So you'd expect him to look the part, wouldn't you? And
well, yeah.
And he does look very suave, and
he does.
I'd quite like to see more of the actor. I'll be honest, I quite like him.
I do, and if he was a baddie, like that would be delicious, actually.
Yeah, we'd eat that up. Yeah, we would. Well, Marvin went back to Prithvi on Facebook and said, all people in the music business are kind of sharks. Forrest sees a meal ticket and made it clear he's only interested in solo artists. And then when the next flash in the pan comes along, Kirby will be out with yesterday's underwear.
Oh, God.
I think he's right.
There is and there is this notion, isn't there, running through these comments of big bad music industry. Do not trust. Yeah.
Well, this kind of regurgitated pop stuff is a bit cynical, and it is a bit, isn't it? It's a money making machine. Let's face it.
Brands and
Obviously we're going to get some negative comments because we're feeling quite negative about Lyric at the moment. So Matilda says, forgive me, but Home and Away is complete junk at the moment. Everything is about this silly band. It's boring. If you do not do anything, then people will stop watching.
Something's got to change with this. I was saying as well to somebody, I can't remember who it was now, the block storytelling doesn't help with this.
No.
Because the band, people are finding it, or many people are finding it unwatchable. But if you're stuck with it for 3 episodes, you're gonna switch off.
Yes.
And like, I was sort of making a point yesterday, like, the band are gone, everyone come back. Like, because then the tail end of the week was really good again, and I was back in the game. Don't think the block storytelling helps in these scenarios. If there's a storyline you're not enjoying particularly at that moment, you are sort of stuck with it, and you probably could afford to miss those couple of episodes if you're not enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? Just being honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I think to say the show is junk as a whole is a bit short-sighted.
I think it's similar to what I said on the main pod. I think when the whole Lyric thing is dominating an episode, there are bits in that episode in between those scenes that I would normally really enjoy, like the comedy scenes with Marilyn and John or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm losing them a little bit, and I'm not enjoying them as much because I know that I'm just being sandwiched between the Lyric scene and the Lyric scene, and I'm just waiting for the next. And I'm seething from the one that I've just watched, and I'm waiting for the next one to appear. And I'm not enjoying the bit in the middle as much as I would do normally, because I'm just like, oh, this is Lyric heavy, and I'm fed up of it.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame. And it is that block storytelling, like you say. You just have to go, okay, well, this will be 2 days of Lyric, and then
get through it, and there'll be something else on. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. To write it off as complete jump for the whole thing is probably extreme. But I think when you're in that, you're in that episode where it feels like it's just all Lyric, it's hard to see the wood from the trees sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Going over to Twitter then. So Jen says, for all the trouble that Kirby has caused, she wasn't ashamed to work at the diner, and Theo was also doing his mechanic apprenticeship too. Eden needs to get a grip. So this was about when Eden turned down the shifts, because Mac realised that she'd got no money. She couldn't even pay for a beer, could she? She was like, oh, I'll have a beer, actually make it a water, because I've got no cash in my purse. So lots of people have been saying, just get a bloody job. So David said, what makes Eden so special that she cannot get a normal job? Talk about entitled.
David's like coming out with it this week.
I'm not arguing against you, David. You're absolutely right. These lot have just been told that they can't play any music of their own. I don't really get this at all. We didn't talk about this on the main pod because we ran out of the 60 seconds, but they've been told they can't play any of their own music because Kirby's copyrighted on it. But apparently they can play anybody else's music, because they could be a covers band and play literally any other song that someone else has written. I don't get this.
It's just insane, isn't it?
It's so just weird.
Factually, it's not
so
right.
Weird.
Yeah.
But if we're going to Jenny it, which we're going to have to Jenny it, so we can't play any Lyric music, you can't do gigs then. Mac doesn't want you as a covers band. Get a job. Take the shifts in Salt. Take the shifts in the diner. Like, look after the gym while Tane's in New Zealand. Get the money coming in somehow. Like, anyway, yeah. Yvonne's sort of feeling the same thing as well. So Yvonne says Mac is cutting off her nose to spite her face by shutting everything down. Surely she would benefit from the customer revenue for a solo group act that would bring the money into Salt. I mean, they might order more than pizza while listening to the music.
Well, we've said this because the restaurant seems to fold with no band. So we have said this ourselves, haven't we? Why is she not just, coming up with solutions rather than biting off a nose to spite a face?
Very weird, because we've been told for ages that the Salt is dependent on this fortnightly Lyric gig.
Yeah.
And when they've forfeited that gig before, we've had to have an emergency gig by Justin and Theo to try and bring the customers back in. You know, because they're so dependent on the revenue that this brings to the restaurant. It makes no sense now that she doesn't want to play at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about Lyric.
How about don't?
Shall we move on? A lot of people
Yeah.
have got a lot of stuff to say, so hopefully I've read out, you know, the comments that kind of make up what most people are saying. But I think everyone is just as exasperated as we are about Lyric, to be honest.
That's
and the amount
comforting to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of exposure that this band is getting this week was not appreciated. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Also, something that's not getting as appreciated as I thought it would be is the Dana Harper Cash storyline. So on Facebook, there's quite a lot of people saying that this storyline isn't getting them interested, which I'm surprised about actually, because this feels like a genuine home and away, waif and stray, come to the bay, wrong side of the tracks, wrong side of the law, typical home and away newcomer with a secret kind of. We normally lap these storylines up, don't we?
Yeah.
You and I are enjoying this, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Early days, but yeah, we've been here before. We know the ropes.
We know the ropes. There's quite a lot of comments about this storyline that people are not enjoying it as much as we are. So Leslie on Facebook says, I don't like these two girls and this storyline is very boring. And then like 3 emojis with the thumbs down, which is quite harsh. Yeah. And that's not the only comments. There's quite a few people saying that they're not enjoying this. A few people
This surprises me.
Yeah, a few people commented on the fact that they think this storyline is pitched at a younger character. You know what I mean? So Dana, they're thinking is you know, playing a role that they think the actress is older than what this storyline would normally.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, like a sort of teenage drama, angst, angry storyline, and then it's this, you know, 20-something-year-old actress playing it. They feel like it's not age equivalent to the actress. I don't know. I don't know whether I agree with that or not.
It's not something that I've thought of, but
no. It's interesting to hear that.
I mean, how many teenagers have a boyfriend who's set them up for drugs?
Yeah, I think maybe it's. I'm wondering whether people are saying that because she's quite. When Harper's trying to look after her and say, "Don't leave the house," she's like, "Oh, for God's sake, you know, I don't."
Like in a juvenile way,
yeah, like rolling her eyes, and she's not really being very grateful that her sister's helping her, and her sister's coming across as like the mum, isn't she, and trying to like stay in your room and don't get caught. You're going to go to prison, and she's like, "Oh, for God's sake, I just went for a walk." Ugh.
Yeah, but I'm seeing that as she knows more than she's letting on. Like she's not that afraid of going for a walk because she knows that that doesn't. She's not going to get caught because like the copper's in on it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
like
I don't.
Harper's
don't know.
thinking, "Don't leave the house. What if someone sees you?" But I don't think Dana's feeling it. It is quite as serious as that. I think she doesn't feel like it's not the end of the. Like Harper thinks she's on the run. Her life's over. She needs to clear a name. But I think Dana knows more than Harper does. That's the way I've read it.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that playing out. It's interesting. I find this story interesting, but people genuinely, you know, they're not finding it as interesting as we do. Heather on Twitter, not on Twitter, sorry, on Facebook is sort of warning Cash, really. Cash, don't get involved with these girls. They are trouble. Lorraine is saying the same thing. She's saying, please don't let Cash go outside the law. And then a little praying emoji. Jeanette's thinking the same as you. Jeanette's saying, I don't trust Dana. I think she's hiding something.
I do. I'm with Jeanette.
I think she's hiding something. And saying, Cash, we love you and adore you. Don't fall for any nonsense concerning these sisters. One is good, but the other one has gone off the rails.
Dirty Cash.
Dirty Cash. Dirty Cash. I've been singing that. I've been singing that all week. Money talks. Money. Dirty Cash. I want you. Dirty Cash. Oh, I love Dirty Cash. But anyway, less of me, more of you'll say. And guess what, Si? I have a Pauline comment. Are you ready?
Yeah. Come on, Pauline. Don't let me down.
Pauline on Facebook has a message for Cash. Okay.
Oh, God.
You ready? Cash, you need to slow down and become an utter man to yourself and stop trying to please so many women. What's about to happen? What's about to happen? I keep missing you. ... Kiss. But my warning, this is the same message. But my warning is do not let them change your personality. These soaps do that too often. Be the man you are from day one.
Cash, preach, man. Be the man you are.
From day one.
I miss you.
I keep missing you. ... Kiss. I love you, Pauline. Pauline, I'm so glad you're back on yours down the vein. Love you. Yeah,
Be the man you are.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of people worried for Cash, though, isn't there? A lot of people saying, "Cash, don't trust them. Cash, be careful. Cash, be the man you
Yeah.
are. Don't let them change you, Cash. Don't go dirty." Yeah, we're saying the opposite, really, aren't we? Want dirty Cash, angry Cash, etc.
Yeah, he's going to get into some trouble here at work with some wrong uns.
And now he's under the microscope of this Detective Dodgy that's in town. So, okay. Well, to end the You'll Sail the Bay for this week, as I mentioned on the pod earlier, the highlight of the week has been John Palmer in a pinny serving coffee in the diner. And he's made people's week this week. So Jen on Twitter said, JP and his never-ending quest to ponce as much free coffee as he possibly can and interfere with as many people's businesses as he possibly can. Love him. Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
I love JP and his free coffee card. I'm just simply amazing idea that.
It's brilliant. And Jen also says, JP and a penny has saved this episode, to be honest.
Said it ourselves. Yeah.
This was a lyric heavy episode that I think was on Tuesday or Wednesday this week on 5-star. So yeah, JP and the penny serving coffees in the diner saved the episode. I agree as well. And David, just to end this week's You'll Sail the Bay, David said, how can they need help in the diner? That place has got more staff than Buckingham Palace and always has free tables.
It was particularly busy that lunchtime, though, David.
It was.
There must have been a bus of tourists in.
Oh, maybe it was a celeb time tourist bus that came along. Oh, I bet it was. I bet it was.
And poor Maz, was on her own.
Oh.
Thank you for listening. We will be back with more episode discussion from Summer Bay soon. Until then, join the discussion online at Coastal News Pod.